So we're looking at the LTS remote viewing. NVMS version 3 is the one we're working with. The control panel has other things like this particular some interfaces with door open access control, and that sort of thing. So as well as the camera systems up here. So the main view here will connect into our DVR in the back of our shop. We're just looking at, our normal cameras. We got some outside views here, some low resolution cameras, older stuff up in our front office, and our our checkout board, see where all the technicians are at. If we go to a single camera here, this particular one has audio, so it basically is just listening to the music, which is right above the camera. But if there's a conversation in there, we could record that. I don't think that's in your system, but it certainly could be. Just takes a little more, planning for where your microphones are going to be and things like that. They could be remote microphones or built into the camera. So just gives you a capability of seeing what's going on in there. That can be a little confusing if you have more than one or two cameras. Most DVRs can only handle about 4 audio inputs at the same time, and figuring out which one you're listening to can be tricky. We'll go back to a 4-way view. If we go out to our vans, just standard video stuff, we can go down here and go to a zoom in mood. If you point at something and just use the mouse roller ball, you can roll in on, the side of the van or a license plate or something like that. Depends on, this particular camera is pretty far out a license plate, but it would have to be up pretty close. Doing license plates takes special cameras, especially at night. We have those. They're a little more expensive, but we have, $1,200 camera that can read license plates that are going by at 70 miles an hour at midnight. That's, it just depends on how fancy you want to get, or a PTZ camera so that you could zoom in on an area or something like that. There's really not, too much to look at there. Go back in history and see, the last video that was going on is fairly simple. Of course, from remote, it takes a little more horsepower. But let's remote playback here. We'll tell it we want to look at that alley camera. And we'll drop down to a single camera. Of course, this is midnight on that particular camera. Must have been some moisture in the air sitting on the camera. But we could just start playing there if we wanted to. It's playing along here. If we fast forward a little bit, we'll probably end up watching cats or something. Well, there goes the kitty cats. So we can, of course, pick a certain time of day. There's somebody coming by to clean out our dumpster. They do that every night. Hopefully they don't try and jump the fence. Occasionally that happens. So I'm going to back up here and I'm going to go to the 30th. I'm going to set my time to 7:30 in the morning. And then I'm going to go to the 30th and I'm going to set my time to 8:30 in the morning. And now we're going to 7:30 to 8:30 that day. Down here, you can see the lines there are telling you where there was motion. So I picked 7:30 because everybody's coming to work. And what it'll do is it'll play along and it'll skip where there was nothing happening for places where there's movement. That can be adjusted. I'm going to zoom in on the timeline here a little bit so we can see how that's going to happen. So got a couple of vans coming to work, and you'll see down here where there's a white area, it's just going to skip that because apparently we were sitting in our vans doing paperwork or logging our mileage or something. Then it'll pop ahead to the next movement it sees. So now looks like somebody's probably going to get out of their van and come in the back door. So that makes it fairly easy to go. We can fast forward that. Now we're going 4 times faster, so us guys are moving along a little quicker. Saving that is just a matter of going back and cutting that video and telling it that that's the time period you want to save. So if I pause things here and go down here to my clipping, then I can tell it the same thing. I can tell it I want to pick video from 7:30 to 8:30 on the 30th. And normally I don't need to download the player, but because I've already got it, but it'll do that. If you're sending it to the cops, you would download the player to a folder, then just put that all on CD and give it to the police or whatever the case may be. So it's showing me what it's trying to record. So I'm recording a long time before things happen, but since it's only going to record what moved, that really doesn't matter. We'll tell it to go ahead and do that. And down here in the corner of the screen, it's just going to tell us that it's working on that file. So we'll give it a second to finish up here. And that's the basics of viewing and playing. Are that's the hardest thing, is finding what happened. We always tell people, if something happens at your business, the best thing to do, write down what time it is when you call the cops or when you see it, because later on, after all the excitement's over, you won't remember what time it was. So if you write down the exact time, then you got someplace to go look and see. If you're trying to find what happened at 2 o'clock in the morning, you may have to watch from 1 o'clock in the morning till midnight to find that guy that jumped the fence or spray painted your sign or whatever the case may be. So for now, I'm just going to go ahead and close this guy. And I'm going to go over to the start, my saved video. I guess I could have made a shortcut to that. So this is my video from yesterday. So we can go to the viewer, go back to that same video we just watched. We have all the basic same options. We can fast forward it down here, or we can pause it. Let's fast forward here to where the fellows get out of the car. We can pause it here, and now we can go 1 frame at a time. If we're trying to catch some guy's face, that gives us that capability. We can zoom in on him and then just keep playing it 1 frame at a time. If he looks up at the camera, obviously that's going to give us the best video. But at some point, there we go. We got a pretty good shot there. We could save that up here. We could either capture just that picture and print it out, or most of the time you have a cop looking over your shoulder and he takes his cell phone and snaps a picture of that, and you can give him the video later. So, playback, that's pretty much, again, fairly basic. You can zoom in if you need to, and zoom back out and see what's going on. If you have several cameras, you could go from one camera to the next for that particular time period, to see what's going on. So cell phone, Let's see if I can do that. I'm just gonna share my cell phone video so I can run through that 152.508, 540, accept. So now you're looking at the video of my cell phone. It lags a little bit, but there we go. We'll open up the NVMe 7000 software. Basically the same thing. We're just looking at video. It's going to log me into my camera. Again, I have the audio there. It's possible to set up the talk back, but that takes a little more hardware, of course, to be able to talk back to somebody. And it's, it's not real time. If I ran up there and waved and ran back here, you'd probably see me wave about the time I got back. It's going to be a 4 or 5 second lag. So yelling at somebody, you can do it, but it's a little weird. Same story, we can go to a 4-way view and look at several different cameras. Put it on 4-way, wait for things to catch up with us here. There we go. If I put it on its side, I'm going to get a better, wide angle of what the cameras are. Same story. I can flip over here to my parking lot or my back parking lot. This is live. Let's see if I think just my van's back there at the moment. Another guy here. So, same story. I can go down here. Right now it's on half vision because it starts out half vision to save you bandwidth. So I'm going to bump it to clear. And it's going to improve that picture a little bit. Normally, if you just want to see if somebody's walking around your property, you can do that with, low resolution rather than high. Same story. We can go here to view, and I can zoom in on the sign of my van a little bit just by, using the gestures with your fingers on the screen. So it's pretty much the same, same as the other software. You're just doing it on your phone. You have to keep in mind, of course, if you're trying to look at 16 pictures at once, that's 16 high resolution pictures is a lot of video to be transferring. So it may get a little bit choppy if you try to do too much. If you want to go back, we can do the same thing. We can go back here to remote playback. And then we can tell it what time and screen we want to get. We could do the same thing. We could go back to the 30th at 7:30 and start there. Let's see. Take it a second to sync up with the Zoom meeting here. We're just watching the same video, basically. Same story. You could record it to your phone, but that's probably not what you want to do. Suck up all the memory on your phone in a couple seconds with a 5-minute video or something. But you can snap pictures, and save those to your phone, or again save video if you need to. Normally you would just write down some times so you can go back to your other program and check those out. So, well, that's the basics. Hope that answers questions for you. Um, so this is a camera we have at a car wash coffee shop. So lots of traffic coming in and out. This camera is not really a license plate reader, but it's set to zoom in. Let's see here. Yeah, so we got a pretty good picture of this guy's plate and a fair picture of the person in the car. Again, this is not really a license plate camera. It's just zoomed in real close. So with cameras, if you um, narrow the driveway so that you can force the cars to drive through the place that you want to see, then you can catch license plates in most cases. If the car is turned, sideways to you, it'll be pretty hard to read that plate. Um, so here's smaller pictures, but you can see both cameras. This one's zoomed way in. We can catch a license plate on that vehicle entering the lot. Obviously we're not going to be able to on this big camera because just don't have the pixels to be able to zoom in on it and see that license plate. Maybe if we had super high resolution cameras, yeah. So let's see if we can go to midnight and see what we get there. Um, so now we're looking at 4:30 a.m. Let's see if anybody drives in to get coffee this early in the morning. Has that, yeah. That one we can just barely get the license plate. It looks like it's pretty dirty. Plus, again, this is not an actual license plate camera. A license plate camera would have dimmed down these headlights and brightened up the license plate, give us better view. Um, and that's, the difference between the expensive camera and this one's just zoomed in to catch most everybody. There was probably enough information there, vehicle and such, to help out. This guy we got a real good plate on. A regular license plate camera would have darkened these headlights, making things a little easier to see. But this particular one is easy to read. Again, headlights are there, but got a good view of that one. Controlling your vehicles in and out is the important thing. Um, Making sure they pass where you want to see them. So this is a new Mexican restaurant we just finished up. They're actually not open yet, but let's take a look at their. I think they got, yeah, 14 cameras. These are brand new. Of course, we can see nobody's in there at the moment. They're still working on the place, but one of the cameras I was going to show is this guy here. This is the entryway into the building. So down on the sidewalk here, we have a line, an invisible line that the camera sees. Whenever a person walks across that line, then this counter up in the left-hand corner shows, how many people entered the door, how many left. It's going to give you, a basic count of how many came and went into your establishment. The local hotel, Baymont. Fairly new install. Of course, hallways all look the same, all 3 floors. We get 16 cameras in here. Got this one looking at the very front door. Over here, we're looking at the front desk, you know, uh, just general views. These are pretty nice cameras in there. This one's a big, way up there overview of their whole parking lot to, just keep track of movement of cars. Well, I hope that gives you some views of cameras and some of the things we work on. Thank you.